When I was around 8 years old, my parents often stayed up late due to work, and my siblings were much older than me, so I often found myself alone in my thoughts. One night, I was awakened by the commotion downstairs. It was my parents, obviously distressed about something. Curious, I cracked my door open and listened in. Despite their obvious stress, my mom told me to go back to bed when she noticed me at the top of the stairs. Without questioning, I obeyed. As I lay in bed trying to fall asleep again, I heard the front door slam shut, followed by silence. I presumed my parents had left, though I wasn't sure why. However, my rest was interrupted once more by noises downstairs. I heard footsteps, drawers opening and closing, and even what sounded like someone raiding the fridge. I convinced myself it was my older brother, Chris, who often came home late. But the footsteps grew closer until they reached my door. I lay still, watching as the door quietly opened, revealing a dark figure resembling a person's head. I called out names, but received no reply. The figure closed the door, leaving me confused and uneasy. Eventually, I mustered the courage to investigate and found a tall figure in the kitchen. Assuming it was my dad, I called out, but the response I got was unsettling. It wasn't my dad's voice. Startled, I rushed back to my room and hid under the covers. The next morning, I learned from my parents that they had been gone for hours, dealing with my brother's car accident. I realized then that the person I encountered was a stranger, and the fear I felt was unlike anything I had experienced before. Years later, when we moved to a new house, strange occurrences continued. My younger brother, obsessed with a toy Batman car, claimed to have a friend named Buddy. But Buddy's presence seemed eerie, especially when the toy mysteriously activated on its own. The unsettling experiences didn't end there. A neighbor named Alex, who initially seemed harmless, began exhibiting increasingly bizarre behavior. From intruding into my room late at night to attempting to break in through my window, his actions left me fearing for my safety. Looking back, I shudder to think what might have happened if my parents hadn't intervened. Childhood should be a time of innocence, but for me, it was marked by encounters with the unknown and the unsettling realization that danger could lurk where we least expect it. In the years around 2013-2014, my younger brother, aged 7 or 8 at the time, and I relocated to a new house for convenience and affordability. It was a charming place with a cozy fireplace, perfect for the winter months. My brother, a fervent Batman fan, cherished his Batman car toy, which illuminated and made sounds when activated. One day, he returned from playing outdoors, clutching a weathered school photo of a boy. Identifying the boy as Buddy, he claimed him as a friend. This revelation puzzled me, as my brother rarely formed friendships, especially not so suddenly. Nonetheless, I dismissed it as a passing whim. One night, I was startled awake by my brother's chatter. Annoyed, I ventured into his room, expecting to find him playing with his toys. To my surprise, he was conversing as if someone were there. Concerned, I brushed it off, assuming it was his vivid imagination at play. As days passed, my brother's fixation on Buddy grew unsettling. His toy car often activated inexplicably, prompting us to investigate. Even after discarding the toy, my brother persisted in mentioning Buddy, fueling our unease. Suspicious, we explored our neighbors' houses, but found no evidence of a real Buddy. Despite our concerns, my father dismissed it as an imaginary friend. Yet the strange occurrences persisted, culminating in the eerie sight of the toy moving on its own. Terrified, my sister and I sought solace in each other's company, only to witness the toy's inexplicable movements firsthand. Convinced of a supernatural presence, we disposed of the toy, hoping to end the ordeal. However, the disturbances continued, culminating in a bizarre incident involving a kitchen appliance. Despite our efforts to rationalize the events, we remained unsettled. Years later, as we left the house behind, the memory of Buddy lingered, leaving us to wonder if there was more to his presence than mere imagination.
the age of 10, my family relocated to a new town, prompting my enrollment in a different elementary school as a 5th grader. Adjusting to the unfamiliar environment proved challenging, especially amid the judgmental scrutiny of my peers who already had established connections. Struggling to integrate into the social fabric of my new school, I found solace in a few chance encounters that would soon take a dark turn. Among the initial acquaintances was Dan, whom I met while cycling around the neighborhood. Despite attending separate schools, we bonded over shared interests. Another encounter occurred with Alex, a boy from down the block, who unexpectedly showed up at my doorstep, inviting me to play video games. Despite my reservations about his disheveled appearance and the condition of his home, I accepted the invitation, hoping to forge a new friendship. However, my initial impressions of Alex soon turned sour. His persistent presence, coupled with discomforting physical proximity, left me unsettled. Consequently, I began to distance myself from him, preferring the company of Dan. Yet, Alex's persistence escalated into a disturbing incident when he intruded into my room late one night, citing his parents' quarrel as justification for seeking refuge. Shocked and frightened, I demanded he leave, alarmed by his audacity. Subsequent encounters only heightened my apprehension. Alex's relentless attempts to gain access to my home, including knocking on my window late at night and even shattering it, instilled a profound sense of fear and vulnerability within me. Confrontations with his family proved futile, as they displayed a blatant disregard for their son's troubling behavior. It was only through my father's intervention that they reluctantly assumed responsibility for the damages caused. Thankfully, Alex's family eventually relocated, bringing an end to the unnerving ordeal. However, the haunting memory of those encounters continues to linger, leaving me to ponder the unsettling nature of human behavior and the potential dangers lurking within seemingly innocuous encounters. Despite the relief brought by Alex's departure, the aftermath of the unsettling ordeal lingered, casting a shadow over my sense of security. I found myself grappling with newfound distrust toward strangers and heightened vigilance in my interactions, wary of potential threats lurking beneath the surface. The experience also prompted a deeper reflection on the complexities of human behavior and the unpredictable nature of interpersonal relationships. What began as innocent encounters with a neighbor swiftly descended into a harrowing ordeal, underscoring the importance of discernment and boundaries in navigating social connections. Moreover, the incident served as a stark reminder of the vulnerability inherent in adolescence, where naivety can easily be exploited and boundaries violated. It highlighted the imperative of fostering open communication with trusted adults and seeking support when faced with discomforting situations. In the aftermath of Alex's departure, I gradually regained a sense of normalcy, yet the memory of those encounters remained etched in my consciousness, serving as a sobering reminder of the fragility of human relationships and the potential dangers that lurk within the facade of familiarity.